This segment of the news is brought to you by Mobile Garage Fleet Software, the Bahamas' #1 fleet management software backed by Azuga, a Bridgestone company. Schedule your free demo today.
Welcome back. Here's a look at your Eyewitness News gas tracker. $5.71, your national average for a gallon of gas. And today you'll get the cheapest at Esso, $5.46. Shell coming in at $5.76 per gallon. Rubis still steady, almost $6, $5.92. Well, residents of the Nassau Village community are tonight calling for the closure of a nightclub that opened right across the street from their homes. Now, they say enough is enough, but the owners of that hangout spot claim that they've been trying to compromise and have done all they can. Devontae Hanna has both sides tonight.
Frustrated and exhausted, that's how residents of Nassau Village say they've been left to feel after enduring Spotlight Lounge just across the street from their home.
You could imagine you hearing brigadum, rum, 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 from some evening that music turning on, from say 2, 3 o'clock till sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
The lounge, which is situated near the entrance of Nassau Village off Soldier Road, was opened after the pandemic. And while residents say they appreciate the will to become an entrepreneur from the owners, enough is enough, as they say the spot is not a good fit.
Because there's no space in the yard, the people spill in the road. They obstruct traffic. They go all around the house, they're fighting and cursing. We put up a lot. That's scary because the guy jumped my wall.
I say when you home in your bed resting, I have to be to work, and I staggering Saturday. When I went to work, I couldn't even function. I had to come home and I get off the rest because I had a migraine headache and the temple of my head.
Owners of the club, who wish not to be on camera, say they've heard the complaints and they did what they could have done to help.
We really don't have noise around here. I mean, sometimes when we close or whatever, like persons leaving, that's the most noise I could say. But we started to keep the music at a minimum. And what I did was I moved all the music from the front straight to the back of the building. When officers came, they usually say that they don't hear the music not until the door opens.
But residents say that isn't enough.
That bass, when you go inside, you still can hear that music, and I live way to the back.
Yeah, and I don't know what, the motorbike itself is annoying. We're just going to bed and son.
I bought earplugs. Or when I get really tired and I feel like my pressure right now, I went to the doctor on Tuesday last week. My pressure is so high, I have to go back tomorrow.
Residents fear the already worsening crime issue in Nassau Village could spill over into what they are calling a peaceful area.
We have never had no killings or anything in this area, and that's what we are pushing for. We don't want blood to be shed on this street, and that's where it's headed.
In the end, the owners of the bar say they are open to compromise as they chart the way forward.
This is a new business for us, so we just right now just trying to grow, and we want to, I guess, make everyone comfortable with us being here. So we try to work with officers as well as, with the neighbors.
Tonight, those residents, after being given the runaround by authorities and even going as far as to seek legal assistance, has one desperate plea.
And I'm appealing to the Commissioner of Police. We are human beings. They are treating us like we're not human beings. Our MP, Jamal Strawn.
Everything has a season, and that season over there will soon cut off.
Devontae Hanna, Eyewitness News.
Well, CARICOM is all wrapped up, but regional heads have some items on the agenda that they're hoping to address. Reparations from former colonizers is on that list. And tonight, our Theo Seeley gives us some insight on what the regional heads are hoping to achieve. Here's that report.
Reparations, payback from colonizers to former colonies in the Caribbean. Is it something that the region should be getting after?
It's an important question which has to occupy the minds of all Caribbean people.
That's Prime Minister of Dominica Roosevelt Skerrit. He says CARICOM will engage former colonial masters on the question of reparations. Bajan Prime Minister Mia Mottley explains why.
It was the blood, sweat and tears of our people that financed the Industrial Revolution, and it is the very same consequences of the Industrial Revolution that are causing us now this existential crisis. So that we believe that as a community, this ought to be the subject of discussion, and to the extent that those discussions take place, Haiti, of course, has to be at the center of it.
The push comes at a time when Haiti faces economic and political instability. Many argue that France's independence tax on Haiti, after becoming the first Caribbean island to gain independence, is what has contributed to its current state. So Caribbean heads want retribution regionally.
On the question of reparations to Haiti, it forms part of the CARICOM's consideration and concern.
Former colonizers like the royal family have gone on record to apologize.
I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
Prime Minister Skerrit says,
I don't think we should only accept apologies or a recognition that a wrong was done. If a wrong is done to you and you go to court, then you'll get compensation.
And in true Motley fashion, straight to the point, she says those who stole from us must pay up.
When we became independent countries, we had no compact left for us that allowed us to deal with poverty, housing, education, healthcare, or building a modern economy. What we had was a society and an economy that had been sucked dry and wealth extracted from it for centuries. Now, if you start with a deficit, you have hell to catch up.
Now, each CARICOM state should have a national reparations committee, and a subcommittee of prime ministers on reparations is set to meet in the coming months. Theo Seeley, Eyewitness News.
Meantime, the Caribbean Public Health Agency preparing to host its 67th annual Health Research Conference right here in the Bahamas, the largest of its kind in an English-speaking Caribbean country, according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan.
A key function being to promote and facilitate the increased use of health research in the development of policy. Research conducted by and for our Caribbean people is presented at the conference, with results and conclusions contributing to our overall progress in health.
Well, the conference kicks off on April 27th to the 29th at the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort under the theme Pathways to Recovery and Resilience. COPRA Executive Director Dr. Joy St. John also outlines which topics will be discussed.
We have the usual conference topics: child health, maternal health, infectious diseases, HIV, sexual and reproductive diseases, public health topics of interest, anything that is topical that meets the standard, because we have a research advisory committee that is reviewing specific papers. So they actually review, they have to be up to a standard, and then once that is complete, we will put them together in groupings.
Well, tonight is a special one at Bahamas Faith Ministries on Carmichael Road, as 3 pastors have joined hands to launch what they say is a manuscript to help at-risk youth. Our Theo Seeley joining me live tonight with the details on this. Theo?
Good evening, Janaya. 3 pastors, Dave Burrows, Eric Fox, and Carlos Reed, all reformed gang members, have come together to launch a very special book here at Bahamas Faith Ministries International this evening. Now, the trio says the book is geared towards helping teachers, guidance counselors, anyone who basically has an on-hands approach with anyone who's an at-risk youth. This book is basically supposed to be a manuscript to help them guide these young men and women out of the life of crime. And like I said, it's not just for at-risk men. The trio say they've found that young women have become a part of the circle of crime as well. Now, they say it dates back to the Jerome Avenue massacre, which happened some 2 years ago. It was after that traumatic incident that they penned this book, Reaching the Streets, Lessons in Reaching and Impacting Troubled Youth from the Streets and Gangs. Tonight here at Bahamas Faith Ministries International, we expect that social workers, law enforcement agents, guidance counselors, like I said, anyone who has a hands-on approach with dealing with at-risk youth, they will be here in the main sanctuary at Bahamas Faith Ministries International tonight to sit and talk with these 3 men to hear about their journey from a life of crime on the streets to the pulpit to being guidance and basically youth counselors for these at-risk youth. And moving forward from tonight, these 3 men expect that there will be ongoing workshops to help this manuscript pan out so that it's not just a bunch of talk, but it's action coupled with that talk as well. We're going to sit in on the action here tonight at the main sanctuary. We expect to talk with 3 men about their book, the journey to penning this manuscript, and see exactly how the event will pan out, what the event participants have to say. And in tomorrow's newscast, we will fill you in with all the details from this evening's proceedings. Reporting live from Bahamas Faith Ministries International, I'm Theo Seeley, sending it back to you live on the desk, Janelle.
Thanks so much, Theo. Well, still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, our Laurencia Smith, she's embarking on another adventure, and I'm excited to see what she's doing next. But first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast.
By Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
Your live look tonight is on Marathon Road. The temperature right around 75 degrees with an expected dip of 66. A bit chilly tonight. This is Eyewitness News. Welcome back. Well, no adventure is too dirty or too masculine for our resident adventurer, Laurencia Smith, as she tackles remodeling tonight with a construction company. Let's see how that turned out.
We all know by now that I'm down for any adventure, and Mike Molly of MGM Construction indulged me in this very dirty but fun adventure. He shared that he's been in business for some 6 years, but the construction trade is in his DNA.
From about 10 years old, put a hammer in my hand and strapped me down with some rope. I was off from there. So it's really from a childhood, I was in the field.
The COVID-19 pandemic was either bloom or gloom for a number of businesses here in the country. And for MGM, the CEO happily shared that his business bloomed.
Construction field, people were home, people were finding things to do, so it really jumped MGM, really boosted us up a bit. So I would say the pandemic had its pros and cons, but we did well through the pandemic.
If you're in the market for remodeling your humble abode, here's what the company offers.
Most of the services is remodeling, renovations. We're getting into the ground-up construction, but the thing is, we like to go job to job, So basically, renovations, remodeling, all that good stuff.
MGM is a crew of 5 and subs depending on the project. Molly says there's no set time frame for any project. Now, what is his vision for his company?
It's global. I want to say that. I'm not trying to be bougie or anything like that. The world is yours.
Molly didn't waste any time putting me to work, and it was a very dirty and tiresome job.
So you go ahead? Yes, you should. Oh, put that on. Don't squeeze the trigger, but just do it lightly so they can go slow. Yeah, keep going. Give me some more. Yeah, keep going. All right, keep going. Keep going. Put it all the way down so it's flat. Keep going. All right. Drag it on, scrape it off. Aha. All right, put a little bit more. All right, you scrape that on. All right, and then center it. Grab the travel, center it, and on the hook. This is what Masons does. You know Masons? Yeah.
So you put it on.
Catch the holes, exactly. Cover all the holes because this is going to be flat. Alright. This side, we're going to go here. Listen, this work here, this will work your eye. You sweating yet?
Yeah, I do not want to do this anymore. I will never complain about doing a story again. Will I be leaving field reporting or heading to the construction field?
You can pass. You can pass. I can start you off as a helper, and then you make your way up.
So after this adventure, I think I'm going to stick to my dirty work, asking the hard questions and not plastering a wall. Until next time, Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Great job, Laurencia. Her resume continues to grow. Still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, our Randy Smith has the latest in sports. Good evening, Randy.
Good evening, Janelle. Well, with the Carifta Games coming up, Minister of Youth Sports and Culture Mario Bole, he gave an update on the status of the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Hear more about it coming up in Eyewitness Sports.
Desire to live the Bahamian dream? At PDC Corporate Services, we handle all the paperwork so you can run the business you love in paradise. When you form a company, you can protect your personal assets against liability.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Hennessy, the spirit of sports in the Bahamas. Good evening, everyone. I'm Randy Smith, and welcome to Eyewitness Sports. Well, with the Carifta Games set to kick off in a matter of weeks, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Mario Bole gave an update on the status of the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium and an estimate of how much it will cost to make upgrades to the facility. The games will be held on Easter weekend, April 8th through 10th.
Renovation is going very well. So far, what we have done is that we have obtained a contractor for the cost of some $2.8 million to do the cosmetic works as relates to the structure of the stadium. And that is expected to be finished by mid-March, the latest end of March, which will have us prepared and ready to go for Carifta, which will be in the second week of April during the Easter celebration. The track itself, we also, in the meantime, are also repairing the old and the new track surface itself. The old track surface should be completed by the end of this month, and we expect the new track, which is getting some minor repairs, which we intend to replace for the World Relays in 2024. So with that being said, the old track will be completed first so that we can have some events on the old track while the new track and with the physical structure being repaired at the same time.
On the basketball front, Coach-elect McPhee McQuinn and her Ole Miss Rebels women's team came up just short against the #1 ranked team in the NCAA. South Carolina topped the Rebels 64-57. Despite the loss, Coach O said she likes the heart her team displayed against the best team in the nation. The Rebels now sport a 20-7 win-loss record and will be in action again on Thursday against Missouri.
Like I said in the opening statement, this is why I'm here. This is what I want to do. There's only 3 teams we hadn't beat in my tenure here. South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee. And so, that's on, they're on my little board. And we had an opportunity tonight, so obviously it hurts because I thought we could win.
And on the heels of that 3-game international tour, UB assistant men's basketball coach LeVar Johnson says the team looks to build on the experience gained as they prepare to travel again.
The willingness to fight. When the teams then pressure us right straight through for the whole 40 minutes, and they are bigger and some of them are stronger. But what we saw is this team that don't give up. They didn't give up. They continue to play, continue to try to execute everything we asked them to do. And this is how it is at a young team. And we can see some games like this whereby they down and they got to keep on fighting and keep on clawing. But this is how we build, and this is how we grow. And so you can see a lot more better from them going on in the future.
Well, that does it for us in sports, but stay tuned. Eyewitness continues in a moment. I'm Randy Smith. Have a great evening.
With BTC Business's new smart solutions powered by superfast,
jam, the bacon jam
Ready
takes
to
it
go.
to another
We
level.
have that product that's ready to go. You just
The bacon
take
jam
it.
is so good.
Listen, just take it out. Ready to go.
The meal was so good. This is how we will be brunching for the rest of the year. Special thanks to Chef Jamal Small at Cisco Bahamas.
Always a
Of
pleasure.
course,
Always
you
a
can
pleasure.
get all of these ingredients at Cisco Bahamas and on our website, ewnews.com. Thanks so much for staying with us. Stay right with us, though. Your BTC Connection is up next.
Link up with BTC and call it one and done. Link up with BTC and call it one and done.
We're in the midst of our fiberization process, and what this means in a nutshell for you is a vast improvement to your mobile, residential, and home services from BTC. We thought we'd hit the ground with our technical teams, come into a community like Stapleton Gardens for a look at what life with fiber will look like for you.
Breaking down this fiber that we have here, just think of the fact that we were using the existing copper network and you had a limited amount of speed. With this fiber, it's using a cable that's made of glass but delivering simple service to you. Whether you're on the internet surfing, whether you just connecting with your friends and family, this service makes it much more easier. Right now, we're presently in Stapleton Gardens, one of 3 areas that's going to be deployed this month. Moving forward, we're now doing our expansion because we've been expanding from the east to the west. Coming up next, we'll be looking at expanding to the Family Islands. So it's earmarked to have like another 12,500 homes connected, but for now, we're moving out month per month in New Providence and the Family Islands. With regards to customers on our legacy platform, this infrastructure would allow them to have way more connectivity, more access, more options. Because before, on the legacy platform, you only can offer telephone. Now this can offer a triple play solution, and in some cases, even security. Now, you can do, like I say, the things you want at your speed. People have now gotten to the point where now they can't live without the connectivity, especially during the Super Bowl that just went down. So those types of things we'd be looking for on BTC's fiber.
So this is kind of what it looks like. We're talking about fiber, but wait until you experience just what it feels like. These are still the moments that move us. I'm Corvell Pyfrom. Be well and be back here. Next, BTC Connection.
That wraps up news this Tuesday. Again, special thanks to Chef Jamal Small joining us every Tuesday in the month at Eyewitness News. Stay right with us. Beyond the Headlines with Shanique Miller is up next. On behalf of all of us here and the news team, I'm Janae Noel saying good night and be safe, everyone.
Got breakfast?
Yes, Daddy. Check.
Got lunch?
or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Alive, still connected, still with you.
Good evening. Coming up tonight, after nearly a week without water, residents of South Eleuthera speak out tonight. Also, we have the immediate response from Water and Sewerage Executive Management. And a little bit later, it's Hot Topics. That's right, all the stories and issues that you're paying attention to. The Hot Topics panel is here to give you analysis and perspective. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shanique Miller. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. Eleuthera is no stranger to water shortages or water outages. And this week, since last week, in fact, residents of Tarpon Bay and Rock Sound have had to contend with no water. The Water and Sewerage Corporation has been supplying water in 5-gallon increments, but residents say it is just frustrating and they are tired of having to put up with the state of not having enough water coming through their faucets. Well, this evening we're going to speak with two residents who's going to kind of give us an idea of what the last roughly 5 days have been like for them. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Rock Sound resident Charles Hall and also Father Bradley Miller. Hello to both of you and welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Pleasure, Shanique, to be on.
Awesome. Mr. Hall, it's good to see you as well. Father, thank you very much. Let's just talk about what's been happening for the last several days in Tarpon Bay and Rock Sound. I'll start with you first, Mr. Hall.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to be on your show today, Ms. Miller. The situation in South Eleuthera, we are faced with so many different problems. It's unbelievable. Not only the water situation, because about an hour ago when I was in the house, I checked, the water was still dripping.
You said the
electricity went off.
So the water is back dripping, but there's no power.
Well, probably that might be the case.
I'm asking you, sir. I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything. I'm asking you if that's what you said just now.
Yes. Actually, the water was dripping before the electricity went off.
Let's just talk about, let's focus, sir, the electricity is a whole different thing. Listen, here in Nassau, we could write a book. Let's just talk about the water situation for a while. Eleuthera has been having an issue, all of Eleuthera, for quite some time. South Eleuthera, in this latest instance, residents like yourself are pretty vexed. Talk about the last several days, sir, of not having water and having had to depend on a 5-gallon water that has been given to you by Water and Sewerage to do every and anything with.
Ms. Miller, I live right on the highway, and I own some apartments and cottages. And my God, I don't know where to begin from. Thursday evening, we try to contact the people responsible, like Representative Sweeting and also Sylvanus Petty. And they say one thing, and they come back, that don't happen, they come back and say another thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is so, people living in these apartments, no water from Thursday until today. There have been times when I had to go in the night on the beach, stumbling all those rocks to get salt water to flush my toilets.
Sir, you have had to resort to using ocean salt water for your tenants and yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, and falling down in the dark and trying to get water to flush my toilets.
How old are you? If you don't mind me asking. How old are you, around about?
I am 76.
So
in a
you've
couple
had to
months, I'll be
go.
77.
So you're 77. You've had to go and trek over rocks and all that stuff, falling down to get ocean water, to flush toilets at night, to flush toilets, to how about bathe, all that stuff for you and your tenants.
That's right. I tell you, I'm so annoyed and so angry because the people who are responsible weren't making any kind of statements, positive statements, to let us know exactly what is happening. You know, we wrote and we called, but what they were saying to us wasn't helping us in any way.
Mr. Hall, this is not the first time this latest instance, these water woes have been lingering for a number of years, and at the root of it, Water and Sewerage continues to engage Aqua Design. Are you aware of that name and that company, sir?
I don't know about everybody, but I'm sure there are many people who is aware as to who own that company.
Right. What vexes you with the fact that the company continues to be engaged, meaning supplying water, and obviously are not capable of doing so?
Let me see if I can answer that. You know, there are some people who are qualified, there's some people who's not qualified. You have choices and you don't have choices, but if it ain't working, we should get rid of it, don't you think?
I totally agree with you, sir. Father Miller, thank you for joining us, sir. You recently relocated, but you've been in Eleuthera recent enough and over the years to experience exactly what now angers Mr. Hall. Sir, please describe for us the situation in South Eleuthera in terms of water.
Well, Shanique, first of all, thank you for inviting me on your show. As I said, you know, I sent out a voice note because I was frustrated. But prior to me being transferred back to Nassau, Eleuthera was having this water problem for quite some time. And as I said in my voice note, I arrived on Eleuthera on Thursday because I went to Eleuthera to bury my sister. It was bad enough for me to go to bury my sister, but having to be met with a situation that I really thought was unacceptable. We came in on Thursday afternoon, there was just probably a little bit of water dripping. From Friday, the water was off. Fortunately, I was able to go to someone and get 2 5-gallon water. And then my landlord where I was staying at the time, Mr. Hall, brought two big buckets of water just to assist us in terms of flushing the toilet and all of that.
So you never had to bathe with the ocean water while you were there?
No.
Go ahead,
and
sir.
I couldn't shower. If I would have taken the truth, I didn't shower at all while I was, but I couldn't shower. But what made me so angry was this was the third day, Sunday. Nobody was saying nothing. And the people in Eleuthera were complaining. And I said, well, why are you complaining just among yourselves? I mean, it's not getting any place. I mean, everybody know what the situation is. I said, something has to be done. And there was nothing being said or anything as to what was what. All I was asking them to do was say to the people of South Eleuthera, listen, this is the challenges that we are facing. People are not stupid. People realize machine break down. And so if something goes wrong, then come to the people and say, look, here is the problem. Here what we are facing. Here's some solution we will do to assist you as we correct this problem. But nothing was being said. It was after I said,
are residents saying that they were not at all informed of what was going on by Water and Sewerage?
Person was saying that one time ago they sent out something saying that we're working on it. That's all they were saying. We're working on it. And so people saw this as, in my view, as a lie. Look, you just saying we're working on it, but we don't know what you're working on because you're not telling us anything. And so the people were frustrated. I was frustrated. And I just said, I need to speak out and say something on behalf of these people.
Yes.
And so I said, look, at least they should have said something unique. They should have said, as I said earlier, to the people of the South Lutheran, listen, these are the challenges that we are facing. Here is the problem. We are working on the problem. It is beyond our control, but we can assure you that we are addressing it. And here's some solution we will do for you. It was not until after the voice note on Sunday they came at a rock song.
So that's when the water was being distributed in 5-gallon increments, and also that's when they started communicating. You were saying, because I saw some releases, but I thought that was happening since Thursday.
Well, I know after my voice note, I saw a press conference came out that Sunday afternoon.
Okay,
And
I want to
after
ask
my
you.
voice,
Father, I want to ask you this. I want to ask you, in this instance, it's Tarpon Bay and Rock Sound, but South Eleuthera is no stranger to not having water as well after a certain time in the evening, yeah? And this has been ongoing.
that is correct.
Yeah, talk about that and how frustrating
I
it is.
know in Saudi Lutheran, particularly Greencastle and the other settlement in the south, for some strange reason, I don't know why, I don't know if it's insufficient water, but at certain times in the night, the water is shut off and it doesn't come on anymore until sometime in the morning. I know that for a fact. Now, I don't know if it's still a problem, but I know for a fact when I was living there, that was a situation. I always try to figure out why is it that the water shuts off at a certain time and come on a certain time. Is it because of the, I don't know, the quantity? I mean, somebody need to say something. Water is a precious commodity, Shanique.
It is.
People need water to survive. People need water to bathe. People need water to flush.
If you cannot wash your hands after eating something or doing something, you just feel icky. Imagine not going days without water. So I certainly agree with you. Well, I thank you and Mr. Hall very much, Father Miller, for speaking with us here on Beyond the Headlines. We are certainly happy, and I want you to obviously stay tuned to the next segment because you will get as many answers as you seek, you and the people of South Eleuthera, because the management of water and sewerage are here and they're going to speak to what the issues are, and also about Aqua Design, the company that's engaged to help with potable water. And so we certainly will talk to them and get behind what's happening there in South Eleuthera and all of Eleuthera, in fact. Thank you very much for joining us here on Beyond the Headlines.
Thank you so much for having us, Shanique. And I hope that this would bring awareness to what is going on and things will change for the better, the people of Saudi Lutheran.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Father Bradley Miller, thank you very much, sir. And also Charles Hall from Rock Sound, thank you very much as well. Stay exactly where you are. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. We're back with the management of water and sewerage right after this break. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. Well, you heard in our first segment, residents of South Eleuthera, Rock Sound and Tarpon Bay are happy to have some water coming back into their homes this after nearly a week being without water. And Being without water is nothing new for the entire island of Eleuthera. Just recently, the Water and Sewerage Corporation were members and executive members of the corporation were on Eleuthera to christen a number of new plants that will bring water to North Eleuthera. South Eleuthera then all of a sudden, of course, had this issue. Residents have been complaining, as you heard Mr. Hall say, since last week, and they're getting some relief this evening, but it's not enough. And so we're going to speak with the executive management of the Water and Sewerage Corporation. Robert Deal is general manager. And of course, please pardon me, sir, I have your name, but if you can please state your name and your position, I'd be very, very happy to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Shanique. I am Gregory Stubbs. I'm the assistant general manager for the Family Island Division.
Thank you very much to both of you, and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. You all heard, of course, the residents, and I know you've been getting it firsthand really since last week, of South Eleuthera, angry, frustrated, impatient about this latest water outage, and for days. Mr. Deal, I'll start with you, sir. General Manager, what happened?
Well, first and foremost, Ms. Miller, let me say on behalf of the Water and Sewage Corporation that we wish to extend deepest regret, and we're extremely sorry for what has happened in Roxanne and Tarpon Bay over the last few days. We had a major electrical mechanical failure at our Tarpon Bay desalination plant that started around Friday evening, and unfortunately that caused a severe disruption of water supply for the residents of Roxanne and Tarpon Bay over the last several days. Thankfully, water supply was restored this morning, so that's ongoing, and we expect as the hours go on, the pressure will increase as the system pressurizes.
Mr. Stubbs, you are in charge of Family Islands. We continue to hear of failed plants, electrical failure, this failure, operational failure, etc. How much more patience must residents like those in South Eleuthera offer to the Water and Sewerage Corporation?
Well, you know, Shanique, we do appreciate and we do understand the patience and the frustrations that our customers in Eleuthera have experienced over the past several months. We asked them to continue to express that patience with us as we work with our major contractor on Eleuthera to improve their production, improve their operations, and move back to a point where they can provide consistent, high-quality water on a consistent basis to our customers in Eleuthera.
Mm-hmm. Okay, listen to this, sir. This is me making an attempt to reach out to the water supplier that you referred to, Aqua Design. Making an attempt to reach out to them. They responded to me, so I'll read this to you. Hi, Shanique. My name is Jessica Antanasio. I'm the communications leader for Aqua Design, Bahamas' parent company. I understand that you reached out earlier today about issues affecting Eleuthera. All questions about water service should be referred to Water and Sewerage Corporation. Well, if they can't answer the questions, why are they engaged? Obviously, they are failing. I mean, please make us understand.
Well, Aqua Design Bahamas is a local company owned by a Fortune 500 conglomerate called Veolia International. And as such, they have taken the approach that they will not address any of the issues between the operations or the contract with water and sewage in the media. While we understand that that's an approach that they take, of course, that puts the load on the Water and Sewage Corporation to mitigate and to work with its customers whenever there are operational and contractual issues with Aqua Design. That's a load that we carry. That's a load that we take on. I take a serious approach to, because we value our customers. But you know, we cannot force Aqua Design to make any public statements or any utterances. But we will always address and be vocal and be open to our customers when they have issues and when we have issues providing them water.
Mr. Deal and Mr. Stubbs, it appears as though this company is incapable of meeting the needs of Eleuthera. I'm not sure where else they are engaged in terms of which other island. Because the reason I say that is, this is nothing new. This whole stint, which has lasted quite too long. I remember with Adrian Gibson, the former executive chairman, I think this is the same company that he wanted to part ways with. Not sure of the whole, ins and out of that. But issues with supplying water and consistent water supply were happening since then. How is this company still here to talk about operational failures, etc., and then going to sort of back and go take the sideline approach and say, no, talk to them? How is this all happening while residents of Eleuthera can't bathe, can't shower? Mothers are there feeling very, very just icky and nasty. Their children are there. You heard the gentleman say his tenants in his apartment. He had to go, a 77-year-old man, at night, stumble over rocks, fall down, go to the ocean to get water. Come on, what is this thing with Aqua Design? What are they actually engaged to do, and that they are not doing?
Well, Ms. Miller, we have had particularly in the last several days, very frank but very professional discussions with Aqua Design. We have outlined to them that as a strategic partner, the Water and Sewage Corporation we need to ensure that all of our strategic partners who provide potable water to us are capable and have the ability to provide reliable supply of high quality potable water, desalinated water on a 24/7 basis. We have very high level discussions involving the government and ourselves with Aqua Design, and we expect those to continue into next week. But we have expressed to them dissatisfaction with the issues in Roxton and Tarpon Bay, particularly over the last several days, and of course the issues that we have experienced last year in particular with respect to the naval base plant in central Eleuthera and the plant at the Bourg in north Eleuthera. So those discussions are ongoing. Obviously, as it is a contractual matter, we don't wish to discuss the intimate details here. But I can assure you that we have expressed to them, and the senior levels of the government have expressed to them the frustration of the Bahamian people. Clearly, we note and we accept the feedback from Father Miller, Mr. Hall, and many of the residents of Roxton and Tarpon Bay who have been contacting us over the last several days, because we know it is a very difficult circumstances, and we really do not want to see the situation repeated.
I agree. Mr. Stubbs, what can you say? We also heard that for months now, perhaps even longer than that, residents in further south, at a certain time of the night, they certainly should not look forward to having running water because they never have it. What is the issue there?
Well, as a part of the plant at Tarpon Bay, that plant supplies water going south towards South Eleuthera to some degree, not to a complete end, but close to the end. The distribution pumps are also included in that plant. That's the pumps that pump the water through the pipes. Those pumps have also experienced some performance issues. Just today we were meeting with electricians to make some corrective actions, and that's one of the reasons why we can't get water as far south on a consistent basis as we would like to. And also, you know, the pressures for those distances, the pressures minimize as you go further along the length of the pipe, and as a result, those further along the line of the pipe will get less and less pressure. And so that's one of the reasons why those customers may experience low pressures certain times of the day.
Or no water at all.
Or no water at all, yes.
When you say performance issues, is that sort of the job of Aqua Design? And I keep going back to that company because apparently you all are saying they have been engaged to supply this potable water. And I'm not calling all the desalination and all that stuff. I'm just saying as simple as it is. They have been engaged to do so. They obviously are not fulfilling the contract. I understand that you all are in meetings, etc. But for people, the only thing they want to do is be able to turn on the tap, turn on the shower, you know, and be able to get service. And so are they at fault for this incompetence?
Well, the distribution pumps are an integral part of the reverse osmosis plant. And, you know, we have been in discussions with Aqua Design in them improving that process of distributing the water. They, at times, take a different interpretation as to who is responsible for the distribution of the water, but as the contract points out, they're responsible for that. And yeah, so they are really responsible for ensuring that distribution pumps, those pumps are operable and performing. Now, because of the issues, my staff or our staff in Eleuthera has now had to take upon ourselves to make sure we get those pumps back up to the state that they should be.
That's very interesting. If I get it correctly, this company is being paid to I guess, purify our water and sell it back to us through the Water and Sewage Corporation? Is that what it is in simple terms?
Essentially, it's a desalination contract. So they extract groundwater from deep below the ground, essentially seawater, and it's a desalination process that basically separates the salt from fresh water, and from that we get the fresh water. But ultimately, Shanique, the customers in Rockstar and Tarpon Bay, and indeed the customers all over the Bahamas, are the Water and Sewage Corporation customers. And so it is our ultimate responsibility to ensure that we can provide them with high quality potable water on a consistent 24/7 basis. And so we're going to be taking the steps in conjunction with our board, the government, etc., to ensure that that happens. Yes, we do have strategic partners, but at the end of the day, it is our ultimate responsibility to meet the requirements of our customers.
What is the future for water and sewerage in terms of being able to live up to this mandate? It's obvious now that you cannot fulfill the increasing demand across the country. Well, then, in terms of engaging companies and international, you said this is a part of a Fortune 500 conglomerate, this company, Aqua Design. They don't see the Bahamas this big here as a major part of their whole thing, but they're sure collecting the checks, aren't they? Happy about that. What is the plan moving forward to become more self-sufficient?
Well, obviously, Shanique, we have a series of desalination plants, both here in New Providence and in the Family Islands. And so we are constantly looking at how we are contracting those and what we can do to improve the efficiency of our operations, both here in New Providence and in the Family Islands. Because as we said, the ultimate responsibility is ours as the Water and Sewage Corporation to meet the requirements of our customers. And so whether our customers are in Grand Key off Abaco, Long Key off Crooked Island, here in New Providence, Ryegate Island, or wherever they are, they expect high quality potable water on a 24/7 basis, and it's our responsibility and our goal to get that done. So every day we come to work, it's our objective to do whatever we can do to improve the level of service that we provide to our customers.
And Mr. Stubbs, what can you add to that, and especially in the Family Islands with water pressure and again consistent water supply? Your plans moving forward to improve what you do on the islands.
Yes, added to that, which Mr. Deal just spoke to, we are looking aggressively at improving the production capacities in Central, North, and now South Eleuthera, on other islands such as Exuma. All of the islands where we have desalination plants, we are looking to improve our production capacity, our storage capacities, and improving the infrastructure, the pipeline, the pumps that we use to distribute this water. As you said earlier, we just commissioned a new system on Russell Island. Eleuthera is a big part of our future plans in terms of improving and increasing the amount of water that we provide to our customers.
Well, it sounds very good. Gentlemen, I'll offer you an opportunity for a final comment, perhaps to residents of South Eleuthera, or just even sort of a preview of where the corporation is headed.
Well, let me again say how sorry and our deepest regret to our customers in Roxanne and Tarpon Bay for what they have experienced over the last several days. We take serious note of the feedback from Father Miller, Mr. Hall, and indeed all of the residents of Roxanne and Tarpon Bay who have shared their comments with us via telephone calls, via emails, via Facebook posts, Twitter, etc. We are going to be taking all of the advice and feedback from them under advisement, and we are going to be doing our best to ensure that what happened this weekend is not repeated anytime soon in the near future. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Water and Sewerage General Manager Robert Deal, and also the Family Islands General Manager Stubbs. What's your first name again? Gregory Stubbs. I thank you both very, very much for addressing a very serious issue that's so important to residents across the country, and in particular the residents of Eleuthera and South Eleuthera, who have had to go several days without water and just now getting back to normal this evening. Thank you very, very much. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, the Hot Topics panel, made up of one, that's right, is going to weigh in on this and other topics for you. This is Beyond the Headlines. Don't go anywhere. We're back right after the break. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We're going to jump right in with some hot topics for you. And so, Garth, it's good to have you here. Garth Rosborough, Beyond the Headlines contributor. Garth, you heard us talk about, really for the first two segments, about the issues in Eleuthera, the water issues. Nothing new to the island. The island has been having those issues for a number of years. You heard the general manager and the, I think, deputy general manager in charge of Family Islands talk about what the issues are. Your thoughts, though, about the people of South Eleuthera in this time having to do without water for several days?
You know, the thing about water is that you never really miss the water, like they say.
Until the well, I know, right?
Until the well goes dry. And for those of you who use a copious amount of water in your home, just try like going to one of the government spigots and getting a 5-gallon bucket and filling that with water to take home. So you can imagine the elderly gentleman. I know one was a Father Hall and the other gentleman.
The Father Miller and then Mr. Hall.
Father
yes.
Miller and Mr. Hall, yeah. Well, you can imagine this poor gentleman going out to the beach at night. Now, let me tell you, with the beach, you're going from solid ground to sand into the water, dipping this water and walking back on the sand.
And on rocks. Remember, he said rocks as well. He fell on the rocks.
I think he did say he was over 70 years of age.
77, and he fell on the rocks.
Have mercy, have mercy. And this is how desperately people need water. You cannot exist without water. And you can imagine the strain that's on the corporation, that's on the government, on the member of parliament, to provide this very, very necessary, resource. Water is vital, and I'm just happy to hear that today he said that the water was restored.
Yeah, and obviously as the hours go on, the strength of the water, and I guess it will continue to be restored throughout the entire.
Very well explained. I also have done plumbing through BTVI, so I understand very well that water works on gravity or it works on pressure. And as he clearly stated, the water is being pumped from under the ground. So you're talking being pumped from several hundred feet. And this is basically like a saline type of water, salt-based water, that's coming up to a facility where it's going to be purified and then pumped into people's homes. So mechanically, yes, and imagine salt water going onto electrical wiring and onto metal, so corrosion, wires falling apart. Eventually,
I'm
best
happy you
system
kind of said
is
that,
going to
because
fail.
I asked them if Aqua Design was responsible for the upkeep of those things, and it is, along with water and sewage. But you heard them say, because many of the residents and myself, when I went to Eleuthera last year, and we heard about Aqua Design, I heard about the issues, and of course we knew about the lingering issues there. And so just wondering, like, how can this company step up to really partner with water and sewage to be able to have consistent water supply?
I can see theoretically that anybody would believe that they can actually tackle such a situation and succeed. But everyone who's a boatman, like fishermen know this, people who live on the waterfront like myself know this. Anyone who deals with that salt water, let me tell you something, whatever your plan of emergency is, that when this pump breaks down, it's going to be so simple to fix, or this system is going to be so easy to maintain. Salt, that word salt is a nightmare for any human being on the face of this planet. It's good for your food, but even if you eat too much of that in your body, what happens? High blood pressure. And you too will deteriorate or die. And so I can imagine that this company, they should have known better. But of course, they're showing that they didn't know better. Because once you take a contract on of this nature, you have to be prepared to spend the money to maintain that.
And the upkeep of it,
Very
like
costly.
you say, the maintenance of it
Very
as well.
costly.
Because then, there wouldn't be system failures if it was ongoing maintenance.
Ongoing maintenance, and that seems to be something that the Bahamas is not too good at. We look at all of our government buildings, all of our vehicles, we look at our roads. We're not too good at maintaining things, and if this company is coming in and saying, we can do a better job at this. Now they're finding out that to maintain anything in the Bahamas is not cheap. This is a very costly nation.
It absolutely is. Well, Garth, let's move on. Again, the water has been restored, so we're quite happy to hear that. I know, right? Let's move on, though. In the news, the Prime Minister says basically no, never, to a committee It was a request made by opposition leader Michael Pintard for a special select committee on immigration. The Prime Minister says, no, it's not necessary. Pintard says, listen, his argument, and in my words, it is necessary because based on what's happening in Haiti and what's going on the ground, this committee is needed here. But the Prime Minister is figuring, and people, I've seen it said online that, listen, you don't need one other thing that people feel perhaps will slow down the process. But your thoughts, I don't want to speak for you, your thoughts on the request for a special select committee on immigration, and then the Prime Minister Davis saying, no, not necessary, no, we're not doing it, we're going to move forward.
First of all, I'd say publicly that the PLP and the FNM are not friends. Let's just leave it as simple as that. And for the enemy of yourself to offer their assistance, who's going to welcome that? I certainly wouldn't do so readily. Knowing that Mr. Pintard himself has been quiet over the last 2 years, all of a sudden finding a voice to speak about what? Where is your credibility? I wouldn't want anything to do with you either. I would absolutely tell you the same thing. No, I'm not interested in what you have to say. You have not said anything. I don't believe in you. The credibility is shot. And so for him to say, let's have a committee.
How is his credibility shot? How?
Because Mr. Pintard is the leader of the royal opposition. What has he really opposed over the last 2 years until now? What are you saying now? Why now? Where's all this pressure now coming from that you now want to involve yourself in now bettering our wonderful Commonwealth of the Bahamas and willing to assist the PLP at this particular time? Why? Why now? What is really your angle as to why you want to involve yourself? I don't feel there's anything good in Mr. Pintard wanting to say that we need a committee about this. We have too many committees in this country, and these committees are not effective. None of them are effective. And so why another committee? Why another conversation? Where is the action? And what I'm saying when I said that he's not credible is that, Mr. Pintard, if you were an action man, you should have been actively speaking over the last 2 years.
Oh.
That's why I say you're not credible.
Oh, well, that Garth, I tell you, that is an entire mouthful. So you agree with the call to say, no.
Oh, I'm with Brave Davis on this. And as a matter of fact, I listened to Mr. Davis' speech on Sunday. Let me tell you something. That national address, right on the money. I'm not siding with the PLP. I'm not taking sides, PLP against FNM. I'm just simply saying to you, for what it's worth, if you listen to that speech, it was magnificent. It was a well-done speech.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you who detailed or added some meat to the speech last night right on the show was Minister of Immigration Keith Bell. He was here and he kind of gave an outline. He explained some stuff. He really gave an even more in-depth analysis on about these shanty towns, the situation of the shanty towns, and the fact that the government has to methodically approach them. This isn't just something happenstance where you go bulldoze over there, that kind of thing. It has to be something that's well thought out, investigated, assessed, all that stuff, right? He did say, though, in terms of timeline that many people were interested in and are interested in, is that the Prime Minister wants things to begin moving within 3 weeks. You think that's realistic?
I think it's going to be somewhat impeded by outer forces. There's going to be some pressure that's going to be applied from outside of this conversation. I think it's a very ambitious plan to actually do something in 3 weeks. If something is to be done, I would have safely said to the public, give me 3 months. I mean, just for me to be safe. Even if I even thought 3 weeks, Garth is going to tell you 3 months because I understand how the Bahamas works. The Bahamas is a very slow-moving country. Eh? We do everything very cautiously, very prayerfully. We got to fast, we got to pray, we got to get some Calic and some Guinness and some Aristocrat and some Gordon's gin and mix all of that up together before we actually make something happen, if anything ever does happen. And so for the PLP to say that they're going to do something in 3 weeks, and I've watched them over the past 2 years, and I can safely say for the last 2 years, has the PLP just woken up? Is the FNM just now waking up? And why are they waking now? And to be honest with you, Shanique, I almost feel as if we're in the heat of political season right now.
What do you mean the heat of political? No,
everybody's now wanting to talk. Everyone is showing up. Everyone is coming out of the closet, hey? Having a conversation. Everyone wants to get involved. Everyone wants to get beyond the headlines. What's going on?
Well, that's very interesting, Garth. Garth, I tell you this, since you say it looked like it's the political season, and I don't know if the political season ever ends in this country anymore, but since you were saying maybe it looks like the political season, I understand some interesting meetings have been happening in certain corners of the F&M.
Yes.
That's interesting to watch, isn't it?
Oh, man. Last night, I was driving home, and I went on Blake Road, and I got a call that they're having a meeting in Kalani at a community center. And I wasn't dressed at all because, you know, I like to get dirty, I like to work. But I went into the hall, I went into the church. And, you know, the first thing that struck my mind is, why do politicians like to meet in churches so much? And it ain't much of them any good, but it was at a church. Mm-hmm. And there stood the former Prime Minister of the opposition, the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this to you, he was very clean, his chest was out, his shoulders were up, and he was greeting everybody as if he was now King Charles, now preparing for the royal coronation.
You're kidding. So acting as though he wants their support again.
Not only his support, he's walking like he is an emperor. He's walking now like he's a prime minister in the making again. And so I'm kind of suspicious because I went to a neighboring facility to hear, and a gentleman dressed in his PLP clothes said to me, Garth, man, you're doing great. Were you at that meeting last night? I said, yes, I was. He said, well, you know, they have another big meeting on Carmichael Road with the former member for Carmichael. It's going to be huge. And I said, the PLP attending the F&M's meetings now. Like I said to you, I think the political season is officially about to kick off.
Interesting.
It's getting hot.
So another F&M meeting.
Another F&M meeting, and the word is
that is
huge.
not on Mackey Street.
Not on Mackey Street.
Quite interesting to watch. Let's just talk about a number of people also paying attention, Garth, to this taxi plate issue. The taxi union have spoken out. They are up in arms and a little and vexed, quite frankly, about the number of plates they say are on the streets. They say the Bahamas and Nassau certainly can absorb all those taxis that are operating on the streets and the plates that are out there. Your thoughts about I don't know, they say hundreds of additional plates are out there, and the fact is nobody now making enough to be able to sustain themselves.
That is correct. I too would be pissed. I don't think there's anything that they can do about it, but you can imagine waking up every morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, going out on your errand to provide a service to visitors and the people here locally alike, and not getting a job all day. This is what happens when you overload the sector. The only thing I can admonish them to do at this particular time is to find multiple streams of income, because it seems to me as if this government doesn't fully understand that that is your bread and butter. And so guess what happens? The member of parliament is going to be paid at the end of every month. The cabinet ministers can be paid at the end of every month, and so is the prime minister. And the one thing that I learned when I too worked for the government is that once you're getting a check every month, and the type of check that you're getting, honestly, I must confess my sins, you really don't see the poverty in the nation. You really cannot empathize with people who are saying that they're hurting or that you're robbing them of an opportunity. You just don't feel it. It's because you're so busy living your own life. It's like I'm going to work in my nice air-conditioned office. I got my red plate car outside. And when I leave, I'm going home to do my thing. It becomes a very selfish and self-centered situation. And so for the taxi drivers, we empathize with you. But there's another side to this coin too, you know. The taxi union, you should have been stronger. You should have been wiser. You should have stuck together. If you had the strength to fight, then you would not have had this issue. But the mere fact that you did not, the government doesn't have the respect that they should for you, now you're in a situation now where very little can be done.
But Garth, the premise was excellent, right? Remember, taxi drivers have been lamenting for the longest while that they want to own their plates or their taxis. They want to be their own bosses. That happened. This minister, JoBeth Colby-Davis, issued that and empowered each of them with their taxi plates, etc. But maybe it's been just a bit too
much,
too overzealous now.
It is too much. You're trying to appease too many people, and when you're trying to feed everybody, then a whole lot of people are going to die. And so we're in a situation right now, Shanique, where we're very uncomfortable. People are lost when it comes to their future. They don't know which way to turn. I think the taxi union needs to really sit down with the minister at this particular time and let them know to listen here. Either you're going to listen to what we really have to say, or they have to do what other people are now doing. Maybe they just need to go and protest. Maybe they need to go down to Carrollcom and they need to go down to Rawson Square and some other places and do what some other people do. I don't know. Maybe go get locked up. Join the lockup crew. I don't know. But definitely the government's not listening to them. Not at this time. Because as they're now speaking, more and more plates are still being issued.
Oh, more and more.
And not only issued, we don't know how many plates have been issued. That is the problem. And now everybody got a plate, eh? Some of the people who have a plate don't even look like you and me.
Who do they look like?
People from down south.
Garth, I thank you very much. You always have a mouthful and always...
No, I'm just being nice today. I feel nice.
You're being nice today?
I feel nice.
You always have a mouthful. You always certainly not lost for opinion on the biggest stories and issues that many of you are paying attention to. I thank you, Garth Rosborough, certainly for being on the show and, of course, being the Hot Topics panel. I think you did great on your own. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for lending your voice to the national conversation once again. I thank all of you for joining us this evening and for being here, hanging out with us. And certainly, of course, we're happy for the people of South Eleuthera that you got some relief this evening. We look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening on Beyond the Headlines. Until then, for the entire team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.
The Verizon Media Group, home of ILTV, Paramount Systems Limited, Eyewitness News, and Beyond the Headlines.